Hello friends, followers, and supporters, this is Esports Machina, and today we're going to talk about games that could potentially break through in esports. However, there has been historically a lot of games that have been pushed as esports and have failed horribly, but that's another video concept of its own. So today I chose 6 games that I personally think that are going to break through in the 2016-2017 time period and can possibly be very successful esports games in terms of viewing numbers and player bases. So the first game on this list is Lawbreakers, which is a team-based shooter, or should I say class-based shooter. There are a lot of similarities to Overwatch. It has characters with jetpacks. Some people can shoot electricity. You have people with grappling hooks who can fly around the map. And the game seems a lot more mobile and a bit more faster based compared to Overwatch based on the gameplay that I've seen. And also the game mode seems a bit different. Not sure will that be how adaptable it will be on the viewership format. But this game has a lot of chance to break through market and garner a decent player base. And that is based on because I personally think, as the developer said on an interview, that there will be a lot of people who will play Overwatch because it has that comic/anime type of art style, and then there will be a lot of people who will be more appealed to this realistic style that Lawbreakers shows you, this sort of a sci-fi, bloody, gritty, and that realistical type of graphical style. And the big problem this game, though, however, it's going to be released on Steam, so it's going to be a good thing because that will be bringing the game potentially to many people's hands. But the issue there is it originally was supposed to be a free-to-play game, and the price is not unveiled right now, what is going to be the price on the game. And if you're going to price your game at $60, for example, that's not going to work out for you. So you have to have at least the same price of Overwatch. But I think just because a lot of other people, let's say there's a person who might buy Lawbreakers and he has friends who have Overwatch already, he probably is going to choose Overwatch instead of Lawbreakers. And the other issue, of course, is if you put the price point too low, you're going to have a lot of more hackers in the game. Good example is CSGO. Even if you get banned, it's just so cheap to buy a new game, so there's no effort in that. And Lawbreakers hasn't revealed the price, as I said. If it's going to be price point perhaps in $20 or $15, I think it could be successful. Anything above that is not sustainable for an esports game. Everybody knows that. Historically, there hasn't been games outside from Halo, Smash, and Call of Duty that have garnered a really high esports scene with $60 price point. Most of the games are free to play or price point of $40 and below. And the other game that we're going to talk about is Quake Champions. There hasn't been a lot of information about this game yet. We have only one trailer. And, it's going to be team shooter based FPS, so it's not like a traditional Quake. The reason I chose this for this list is just because it's a Quake game. And Quake games have already like an established fan base and established following. And, they have been in esports for quite some time. And because of that, I think Quake Champions can break through as an esports, and I think it will be relatively successful. I don't think it's going to be that successful compared to Lawbreakers or Overwatch. I think its main competition is going to be Lawbreakers, and we will see which one actually will over-triumph one another. And also, we don't know the price point of Quake Champions right now, so it's hard to say. And the last FPS game on this list is Paladins, which is also a team shooter, comparable to Overwatch. I think its biggest strength is it's free to play. Of course, it may not be as fluid. Well, I think it's actually quite a fluid game, but it may not have all the greatest character designs versus Overwatch. It feels like a bit more like a fan version or this sort of a mod for Overwatch. I think that might be kind of offensive, but I think it's a good game. It's a very good game if you really think about it because free to play. It has much more customization compared to Overwatch, so you could use these cards and all these systems. It has pretty much the same modes as in Overwatch, but I think the level design on this game is much, much worse. But I think there's less details on the map, so I think the game is much more optimal for low-end PCs, and that's going to be a huge mark for marketing into Asia or Russia, where people have usually a bit worse PCs than maybe on the West. And other thing, of course, about it is that maybe in a spectator type of view, it's easier to see what's going on the map because there's not so many destructibles and other objects on the map like in Overwatch. And now that we have the team shooters out of the way, we have two MOBAs. The first one is Paragon, and everybody probably has already heard about this game. And it's currently on early access. You can buy an access from PS Store or PC. I think one of the strongest points is two platforms. And I don't think there will be there. But the problem when you have a game on PC and on console, like Smite for example, there are going to be separate esports scenes unless the games have some type of a compatibility with each other. However, in Paragon, I could see people from PC competing with people on PS4. However, I think there are a lot of fundamental differences between the two modes, though. I think that may not happen. But Paragon is similar to Lawbreakers in that sense. I think a lot of people will play it because it's more realistic graphics compared to League of Legends or Dota 2. It's less fantasy-based. And I think there are a lot of people who would maybe say, including me, that it's a bit more faster. It feels a bit more faster than Smite, and I think it has much more like mobility on the game where you can jump off the cliffs and stuff like that. So it kind of has those sort of a shooter elements more in that sense. Another MOBA game is called Gigantic, which is developed by Machina. However, this game does have a lot of issues because the game has been kind of, they have a lot of problems publishing the game out. They had a deal with Microsoft initially where it would be only released on Windows 10, and now they partner up with Perfect World, who is known from Dota 2 and other games that they have kind of under their roster in publishing. And the game can succeed, but I think I'm very skeptical about games that are not on Steam. And I think it will be very, very hard to get a player base for this type of a game, especially since there has been a lot of problems and the company has layoffs and, just problems publishing the game out and having like reliable testing hours for the game. There has been ups and downs in terms of when the game was closed and when the game was up and all that. But the game is very appealing. The combat is very smooth and it's very fast-paced. There's a lot of very iconic characters and iconic play styles in this game. It looks very good, and I could probably see a lot of people finding a lot of interest in the game, but it just depends on how fast they will do the release and how well they do it and how much of a player base they will garner. And, this is a bit of a wild card. I'm not, based on the data that I have right now about Gigantic, I'm a bit skeptical about the success, but it can happen. If they do, if the pieces fall right, it can be very successful. And as a last game, I have a game called Brawl Out, and this is a fighting game, and it is very similar into, it's a Super Smash Bros. Type of a game, and platform-based fighting game. I think that's what they call them. And I really like the art style on this one. It's going to be released on Xbox One, PS4, and PC on early 2017. This game could be the next thing. I think there has been a lot of people who have been wanting a good fighting game on PC. Sure, we have Super Street Fighter, but I think this could be very, very good because there has been a lot of knockouts out of Smash, but I think this is the first one, aside from that one indie one, which name I forgot. This is the first one that could be, a Smash type of a game in PC, and based on the price point of the game, I hope it's $20 or less. It could be very, very successful game, and it looks very fun and has good music, great character designs, and I'm really hoping this game could be successful. I'm really excited to play it myself, and I think that is kind of like the last game on this list that I'm hoping that it will be breaking through in esports. And that kind of compiles my list. In a year or two, we're going to kind of look back on this video and see what predictions I got right, hoping that at least get 2 games right. But esports is still kind of like a small space, and there may not be enough players and viewers around for all of these games around there, and that's a problem, but it probably will be fixed along in the future when more people get into esports and following esports. Anyhow, thanks for watching this video, working on new cool projects and new videos in the future, in the near future. And thanks for watching. If you have games that you personally think that are going to be the next big thing, let me know in the comments section below. Cheerios.